Sorry for my tardiness. I just finished watching the film of the second half of the Washington and Titans game, and I must say, I'm even more frustrated now than I was before I went in watching the film, and I knew that shit was going to happen. Normally, it's the reversed effect where I watch the film and I feel better about the performance, because usually it's extremely lousy and there's not a lot of positives to take away from it watching it live. And then you see missed opportunities, a little thing here, a little thing there, and you're like, man, we're not that far away. This was the opposite, because you were supposed to win this game. You felt like you were the better team. I knew we were the better team going in. I knew the Titans had some injuries. I knew they weren't all that talented. And everything that I said came to fruition, and we had an opportunity to win. And the game honestly should not have been as close as it ultimately was. We should have won this game going away, but we're not a good football team. So I'm even more frustrated now. Anyway, enough of that. That's not why you came here. You came here to get the reels about the National Football League, and that's what I'm going to give you with this installment of the Louie T Network podcast that starts now. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 295th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right to the proceedings this evening. I'm already late as is. I don't have a lot of time. My Braves have upset me. Really, Major League Baseball pissed me off because I didn't think they would do what they ultimately did to us. So the Braves are one of the worst daytime baseball teams in the league this season. They just don't play well during the day. And I just figured, we're the Braves, we're the defending Super Bowl, defending World Series champions. We get a little bit of respect. And they put our games, not necessarily. I get it. The Yankees are here. They're primetime, must-see TV. And so they're not going to give us the primetime slot, but give us the slot right before there, the 5:45 slot. Nope, they're going to give us the early, 105, 247, baseball slot. That's bullshit. That's going to get us beat, man. We're not a good daytime baseball team. We lost game one. And I don't want to make excuses, but that's just the facts. They are what they are. Give us some nighttime. Like, we're going to win tonight, because even though it's in a rain delay right now, that game is going to, whether it was played on time and went all the way through or not, it was going to see darkness eventually. Okay. Because it was a 4:45 start or whatever, 4:05, whatever the time was. It was going to venture into darkness. The rest of the series, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, like these are starts that are going to get my Braves beat. I'm not happy about that shit, but we'll see if we are able to rally the troops and play the kind of baseball that I know we're capable of. But I don't like how we've been, pigeonholed here with these start times to the games. But in any event, let's get to the proceedings this evening, shall we? I think we shall. Enough of me bitching and complaining about shit. Let's get to the Gem Droppin Session, shall we? I think we shall. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind. Let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So, Slime Game, week 5. Best of the best in the National Football League from the week that just passed. There were a lot of individual performances that warranted being noticed on this list, but everybody couldn't fit in. There was last week, it was slim pickings. I really had to, go above and beyond the Call of Duty to find 7 performances, whether team-based or individually. This week, Justin Jefferson easily could have been on this list. He was outstanding in the first half of the game against the Bears. He already had 10 catches and over 100 yards. Easily could have been on this list, but I found better. And so, let's go through the list. Let's start with the losers. We'll let the losers worry about losing. There aren't many losers on this list, just one. So I'll get him out of the way right away. De'Ami Brown, member of the Washington Commanders, wide receiver, second-year pro, has not touched pay dirt in his life to this point, in his career, rather. Excuse me, NFL career, not his life. In his NFL career, has not touched pay dirt. Really has not been a productive receiver at all. to the point where fans started to turn on this kid in his second year. Let me remind you, second year receiver we're talking about here, not a third or fourth year pro. Okay, second year receiver that a lot of people had turned their backs on, and some even went as far as to push him off the roster during the preseason. After his Ravens performance, they wanted him gone. He sucks. He can't catch. Get him out of here. To those people, I say, shame on you. And also, what you got to say about Diami now? So happy for the kid. I wish we would have won. He would have been celebrated the way that he should have been. But nonetheless, 2 catches, 105 yards for Diami Brown. For those of you scoring at home, that's 52.5 yards per catch. Okay. 2 catches, $105, and 2 touchdowns. Each of those catches going for touchdowns. 175 yards, snapping the longest running streak in the league of not having a play over 50 yards go for the touchdown. I think Washington hasn't had one of those go for a touchdown since 2020. We had several in 2020 go for big plays. Antonio Gibson. Actually, I think Gibson had one against the Bills last year on a screen early in the season. I think that was the last touchdown we had go for more than 50 yards. But that snapped the streak. We had the longest running streak in the NFL of games without a 50-yard touchdown. And so Diami Brown did that. And then he turned around and gave us the lead, which the defense then quickly relinquished 2 minutes and some change later. But gave us the go-ahead score at the time, 17-14, with a 30-yard one-handed grab for a touchdown. Shout out to Diami Brown, 2 touchdown grabs, the first 2 of his NFL career. Unfortunately, it was not enough, but it was enough, however, to make him a part of the Week 5 slime gang here on the Louie T Network. Let's get to the winners now. Enough of the losers, okay? Let's get to some winners here. And I want to start first with Austin Ekeler. This is a guy that I shitted on for the first probably 3 years of his career. I made fun of him. Every opportunity I got, I took a jab at Austin Ekeler, and Chargers fans were sick of it. And then Austin Ekeler said, I'm sick of it. And then he started to show, like, legitimately, I am that dude. Stop talking on my name like this. All right. Stop speaking on my name like this before I got to slap you with another touchdown. Well, in this game, Austin Ekeler showed everybody that decided, hey, I'm going to take a chance on Austin Ekeler in fantasy because the guy's a dynamo. He catches it, he runs it, all that good stuff. Chargers don't have a great rush offense. Well, that changed in week number 5 for Austin Ekeler and the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chargers had gone something like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 consecutive games without 100-yard rushers, some ridiculous number. And Austin Ekeler changed that. In the first half against the Browns, he had a 71-yard run, and that's where you see, oh, he's not as fast as you would like him to be. He got hawked down from behind, should have scored a touchdown. That was like the Barry Sanders syndrome. You never want to get hawked down after a long run like that at the 2-yard line. I think he ended up getting hawked down at like the 4. You never want to get hawked down like that, but he did. But hey, still 71 yards, and they did score a touchdown like 2 plays later. 16 carries, 173 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Okay. Then he also added in 4 catches for 26 yards and another receiving touchdown. So this guy had 2 touchdowns in the day, almost 200 yards, 199 total yards of offense. And, oh, by the way, he averaged 10.8 yards. So essentially 11 yards per tote on the ground. Normally you see those numbers reserved for a guy that had 6 carries, 6 carries, 66 yards, 7 carries, 77 yards. That's when you see that. Rarely do you see a guy average over 10 yards a carry with over 10 carries in the game. And that 71-yarder by itself wasn't enough to do it. He had to still be consistent the remainder of the game with his other 15 carries. You take away the 71-yard carry, he still got 15 carries for 102 yards. Okay? He killed the Browns on the ground. Austin Ekeler was fantastic and a huge part of the reason why they won that football game 30-28 over the Cleveland Browns. Austin Ekeler, a part of the slime gang in week number 5 in the National Football League. Let's get to another guy that was fantastic individually, Travis Kelce. Now, the numbers don't jump out at you, right? 7 catches, 25 yards. What did he do? And we've seen Travis Kelce take over games by himself. And so these numbers are nothing. It's that final number that gets your attention. That's jarring, okay? 4 touchdowns for Travis Kelce on Monday night. Every single one of the Chiefs' touchdowns went to the hands of one Travis Kelce in that Monday night win over the Raiders, 30-29. Travis Kelce, after the second touchdown, remember, you guys saw the shots of Travis Kelce being covered like he was a gunner on special teams with 2 guys in front of him. One, a defensive lineman, the other, a corner. And the defensive lineman's job was just to chuck him, just to disrupt him at the line of scrimmage. You guys all saw that, right? They didn't do it in the red zone, however. They did that, on the final drive of the game when the Raiders were trying to get the football back. They did that, and they got a hands to the face penalty. But don't you think if you're gonna deploy that kind of tactic, don't you think in the red zone after he's already killed you for 2 touchdowns, don't you think that's the time to do it so he doesn't get you for a third and then a fourth? And then the bad part was, the worst part of this is on the 4th touchdown, he was as wide open as he was all night on the 4th touchdown. They run play action fake, heavy to the right. He comes back across the formation to the left, and there's not a soul within, 5 yards in any direction of Travis Kelce as he catches that football. You've got to be kidding me. 4 touchdown grabs, a career high and a Chiefs franchise record for Travis Kelce in the 30-29 thriller that also saw Devontae Adams commit a misdemeanor assault. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Travis Kelce is definitely a part of the slime gang in week number 5 in the National Football League. Let's get to Taysom Hill. My goodness. Every time you forget about Taysom Hill's greatness, he has one of these games where he reminds you, hey, I'm a unicorn, man. There aren't many guys in the league doing what I do. Point taken. Taysom Hill, and first of all, let me also say this. The Seahawks might have the worst defense in football. Understand that. Duly noted, okay? I'm aware of this, but still, Taysom Hill's greatness cannot be disputed. 9 carries for 112 yards and 3 touchdowns for Taysom Hill on the ground, okay? There were some big runs. There was a 60 in here, a 40 in here for touchdowns. Like, are you kidding me? Then, just when you thought it was safe to crash down on the run when you see Taysom Hill under center or in the shotgun, playing wildcat, he's not going to throw it, right? That's not what he does. He's not quarterback for real. He's just into running. See, so now you just say, to hell, caution to the wind. I'm going after Taysom Hill. He's not running for another 60-yard touchdown. That's when he drops back and he throws a dime over the middle of the football field to the tight end for a 22-yard touchdown. So he's 1 of 1 passing with another touchdown. Taysom Hill by himself accounted for 4 touchdowns in this game, 3 rushing, 1 as a passer. In the 39-32 victory over the Seattle Seahawks. What a crazy game that was. What a fun game to watch it was. And what a performance it was for Taysom Hill, which lands him on the slime gang in week number 5 in the National Football League. All right. Now we get to 2 defenses that were just downright filthy in week number 5. We'll start with the New England Patriots defense. They played against the Lions, and they made the Lions look like the Lions. Not the Lions that we saw early in the year, but the Lions that we've come to know and love. The lovable loser Lions, right? 2 sacks for this Patriots defense. 2 forced turnovers, one of which they scooped up and scored it on a 4th down. We'll get to that later on. 4 of 12 on 3rd downs, they held the Lions to. So, again, essentially 30%, on 33% if you're keeping score at home on 3rd downs. 0 of 6 on 4th downs. We'll get to that. That's a number that I really want to talk about with the Lions when we get to that game. 0 of 3 in the red zone were the Detroit Lions in this game. And the biggest number, 0 points on the scoreboard for the Detroit Lions offensively in this game. The Patriots pitched a shutout. They're so hard to come by, our shutouts. And when you get them, you cherish them. They were dominant in this game. The Lions really were competitive for the first half. pseudo first half of this game. I think it was 13-0 at the halftime break. And then the wheels came off. And again, they did this with their third string quarterback, did the Patriots. So dominant performance from the defense as they got it done 29-0. Slime game, Patriots defense, week 5. And then there's the Cowboys defense and special teams. Boy, were their special teams special in this one. Along with that defense that is just filthy right now. Cowboys surrendered 10 points for the second consecutive week. Win the game 22-10 over the Los Angeles Rams. Make it 4 straight for the Cowboys now, spearheaded by that defensive attack, as I just mentioned. 5 sacks in this game for the Cowboys defense. 3 turnovers forced of one Matthew Stafford, including 2 forced fumbles and a pick. One of those fumbles, the first one of the game on the first third down of the game, was scooped up by DeMarcus Lawrence and run in for a touchdown defensively. They then, on the very next possession, blocked a punt of the Los Angeles Rams. That turned into a field goal and allowed the Cowboys to get off to a 9-0 lead just like that. They held the Rams scoreless in terms of touchdowns in the red zone. 0 of 2 in the red zone were the Rams in this game. And they only surrendered 10 points. So the special teams chimed in with a big play. The defense was outstanding once again. It's a dominant unit. It reminds me of the Cowboys back in I think it was 2019. It might have been 2018. I think it was 18, not 19, when they were really good. And I remember that year the Saints were really good. And they went to Dallas on a Thursday night late in the season. And the Cowboys held a high-powered New Orleans Saints offense to 7 points and beat them something like, 16-7 or something like that, 13-7. That defense that year for the Dallas Cowboys was phenomenal. This defense looks like it's heading down the same path. Their pressure on the quarterback, their linebackers are playing at a high level. The secondary, I think, leaves a little bit to be desired. I thought Trayvon Diggs got cooked in this game, but they're still an aggressive group, even in the secondary. And so that defense, man, wow, they're fun to watch. Slime game, Cowboys defense, week 5, destruction of the Rams. This is the 3rd game this season the Rams have scored 10 points or less in a ball game. They've scored 10 twice against Buffalo and Dallas this week and 9 against the 49ers a week ago. When this Rams offense sees a defense, they start pissing down their leg. Cowboys defense dominant. Special teams chimes in. They get the win. Finally, the slimiest of the slimy in week number 5 in the National Football League. This distinction goes to the Buffalo Bills trio of Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, and Stephon Diggs. These dudes were absolutely unconscious in this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The score was 31-3 at halftime. The Bills took their foot off the gas pedal, ultimately win this game 38-3, but not before Josh Allen destroyed the Steelers defense, before turning the reins over to one Case Keenum to let him finish up what he started. 20 of 31 for Josh Allen for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also rushed for five times for 42 yards. Josh Allen was phenomenal in this game, but you can't do that and put up those kind of numbers by yourself, right? You need help. Where was his help? Gabe Davis was his help. Stephon Diggs was his help. Gabe Davis, 3 catches, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of these touchdowns, 98 yards. The first possession of the game, the Bills are backed up. You think the Steelers got them right where they want them. And Gabe Davis gets behind the defense. And I remember looking away thinking the Steelers are about to force a punt, and looking back and seeing Gabe Davis celebrating. I'm like, what the hell just happened? They were at the 2-yard line. And then they showed the replay, and I'm like, oh my God, 98 yards? Are you kidding me? He had another big one in the game from like 50 yards out or something crazy like that. Gabe Davis was insane in this game. They had no answers. His 2 touchdowns were huge scores. And then Stephon Diggs just continues to be one of the best receivers in all of football, putting up big-time numbers, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. He had a 41-yard catch in this game as well. He just continues to stack these numbers up on top of each other. We're going to look up, and Stephon Diggs is going to have 114 catches. He's going to have 1,500 yards receiving, and he's going to have like 13 touchdowns when it's all said and done. He's putting up those type of numbers early in the season, and it's all because of the guy that I think is leading the MVP race right now in Josh Allen. He's putting up phenomenal numbers, and early in the season, I thought Lamar Jackson was ahead of that race. He's still in the mix, but I think it's Josh Allen's race right now to lose. But again, it's early in the season, but Allen's crew is going to be around. If they stay relatively healthy, it's going to be tough to knock this Bills team off. Number one, it's going to be tough to knock Josh Allen out of the driver's seat for the MVP. He's got too many weapons, and he knows how to use them. They were huge in the 38-3 shellacking of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were the slimiest of the slimy in week number 5 in the National Football League. All right, let's get to Slate Skatin. All right, everybody put your skates on. I got my rollerblades on. I'm going to go ahead and strap up the ankle. I don't want any ankle trouble. All right, get that up there now. We nice and tight. Let's get on some good, smooth pavement, and let's just go skating, man. Let's go skating. Week 5 in the books. Let's talk about week 5, and let's go through the list of games. So we'll start with the Titans and Commanders. Titans get the win 21-17. Remember after they lost in week 2, and I made fun of the announcers for saying, hey, don't count out the Titans this year. Their next 3 games are the Colts, the Colts, the Raiders, and the Commanders. They could get right back in this thing. And I said, man, shut up. Titans stink. Right? But I said, but then I did go back and I was just pissed off because he threw us in the mix. And at that time, we weren't trash yet. Right? So, that was just a little bit of me spitting a little vitriol there, because I was like, don't be lumping us in with the Colts and the Raiders. Look, all 3 of those teams stink right now. And the Titans beat all 3 of those teams. They go from 0-2 to 3-2 after beating the Commanders 21-17. This is a debilitating loss if you're a Washington fan. This one hurt bad because you had no business losing to the Titans. Stink. Offensively, they've got nothing. It's one of the worst collection of semblance of talents in the league offensively I've seen all year long playing a game. I mean, the Bears are pretty bad offensively, but at least they got Darnell Mooney. They've got a legit number 1 caliber type of wide receiver. The Titans don't have anybody even remotely close to that. They got nothing at tight end for real. They just got Derrick Henry, and somehow they were able to win this football game. It's a damn shame, but got to give Henry credit. 28 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. He carried them, especially in the first half of this game. A big catch for Nick Westbrook-Akina, 61-yarder, set up the game-winning score for the Titans in this game. As I mentioned, De'Ami Brown, 2 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was huge. Wentz had a really solid day until the very bitter end when he threw a soul-crushing interception at the 2-yard line. I'll tell you all you need to know. This is all you really need to know from this game. Washington has the football with roughly 23 seconds left. 19 seconds left at the 2-yard line. First and goal from the 2 after a pass interference penalty on the Titans. Put the football at the 2-yard line with 19 seconds to go. Commanders have no timeouts, and they've got 4 opportunities from the 2-yard line to get the ball in. They don't even get the 4th opportunity because Wentz throws an interception. I'll just say this. After watching the film, Carson Wentz had an opportunity on all 3 of those plays to score a touchdown, and he didn't. They weren't great plays dialed up by the coordinator. I don't like the play selection, but in running what they did, there were opportunities for him to have better, choices and decisions than what he ultimately made. And I think he could have scored on every single one of those plays had he gone through his progressions. He didn't try to make a play. And because of that, he throws a pick on that 3rd down and goal, not even giving them the chance to potentially run it on 4th and goal. And they lose the game 21-17. Great play by David Long, the linebacker, to pick him off and seal the deal. Titans go to 3-2. Washington drops to an abysmal 1-4 on the season. Giants and Packers over in London for the 2nd consecutive week. The London game is one of the better performances of the weekend. Last week it was Saints and Vikings. That one was so much fun. Came down to a double doink that the Saints missed that gave the Vikings the victory. This one was a heart stopper. I mean, Giants looked like they were going to get blown out in this game early on. This thing was 17-3, and you're thinking, okay, they're about to get mopped in this game. It was 21-10 at halftime, and you're thinking there's no way the Giants are going to win this football game. But slowly but surely, they methodically hung in the game. Okay, at the end of the third quarter, first of all, the Packers don't score a single point in the second half of this game until the safety that the Giants voluntarily took so that they could punt the football on the free kick instead of punting the ball to the Packers and giving them a chance to have a Hail Mary attempt to tie it up. So they did the right thing, taking the safety. The Packers did not score a single point in the second half, and that's credit to this Giants defense. They hung in there. The offense figured some things out in that fourth quarter. They scored 14 points, 17 unanswered from the Giants in this game as they take that 27-20 lead. But Aaron Rodgers, not looking to be denied, takes them right down the field, has them within striking distance inside the 10-yard line. And on third down, he has a pass batted down. That may have been a touchdown. On fourth down, he has a pass batted down. I don't think that one would have been a touchdown, but we won't find out. We'll never find out because it got batted down 2 plays in a row, and the Giants preserved the victory 27-22 and win that game. No one had the Giants. There might have been a few Giants fans out there that thought maybe we can go in there and shock the world. No one thought the Giants were going to win. I don't give a shit who you are. You didn't think the Giants were going to win that game. Daniel Jones went in with a bum ankle. They didn't even know if he was going to play. He ultimately played. There's no way you thought you were going to go in there and win that game. And somehow they go in there and they win that game. And these are the type of victories where you look back and you say, okay, maybe the Giants are for real. I think a lot of us, I'm guilty. I can't speak for you. I don't want to lump you in with me. My thought process was, oh, this is cute. Giants took advantage of the schedule early on. They beat the Titans, who stink. They beat the Bears and the Panthers. They all suck. The one good team that they played thus far is the Cowboys, and they lost. But they in a valiant effort, I may add, but they lost. And I think a lot of us were thinking, again, I don't want to do that. I was thinking they got the Packers, then they got the Ravens in 2 consecutive games. They're going to lose both of those games. They're going to be 3-3, and everybody's going to realize the Giants are coming back crashing down to earth. Well, that narrative has been absolutely destroyed because they just win and beat the Packers. And now I'm looking at the Ravens. They don't look all that, superhuman to me. They look very vulnerable. I'm like, why can't the Giants beat them too? We'll see. It's after this win, there's a totally different outlook on the Giants. They're not just a cute story with a first-year head coach that's doing some solid things, but, they're not good. No, this win, even though I told you the Packers, there's something off with all the NFC power teams. The Rams aren't the Rams. All right. They're right now, they're not even good right now, are the Rams. The Buccaneers, there's something off. The Packers, there's something off. We know more so along the lines of what's off with the Packers. Not so much with the Bucs, even though I've given you my theories on what's off with them as well. But there's no dominant team in the NFC. I mean, Philadelphia is not dominant, but they're good, and they could easily win the Super Bowl. Anybody can win the Super Bowl in the NFC, or at least participate in the Super Bowl. It's that wide open, including these Giants. As crazy as that may sound. But now they're legit. Beating the Packers validates you. They're now 4-1, and it's not a fluky 4-1 anymore. It's not a fluky 4-1 anymore. This is what happens when you win games. You start to build confidence. Now you think you're supposed to beat Green Bay. They were down. It's one thing if they would have jumped on the Packers early in this game and been a front runner. They were down big in this game and then came back, which shows that mentally they're locked in. All right. They believe in themselves. They're becoming a dangerous team, are the Giants. And for the Packers, offensively, they're not nearly what they once were. They don't scare anybody. Defensively, they're solid, but they're not great. There's definitely some chinks in that armor. And I can tell you right now, if they're not careful, the Vikings will win that division because the Vikings have already beaten them and the Vikings aren't afraid of them. So I don't expect the Packers to stink this year or anything like that, but they're going to take a step back. That's for sure. And the Giants, I think that's a really big win for them. Steelers and Bills. I don't want to spend too much time on this game. This was an ass thrashing of epic proportions. Bills win the game 38-3. I told you it was 31-3 at halftime. This game was never in doubt. 98-yard pass, Gabe Davis, a minute and 4 seconds into the game. I told you I'm watching all the games. Steelers got the Bills backed up on their own 2-yard line. I look away for a second. I look back up, and the Bills are celebrating in the end zone. I'm like, wait a minute. They were just at their own 2-yard line. What just happened? He later caught a 62-yard touchdown pass to Gabe Davis. Again, everybody was getting off. Khalil Shakir got a touchdown. This was his best game as a rookie wide receiver. James Cook, who fumbled, if you recall, his very first snap in the NFL as a running back, he fumbled the football. He scores his first NFL touchdown on a 24-yard run. They're starting to kind of come together in Buffalo. They're a dangerous football team. They really, truly are. And they set the stage for a massive matchup against Kansas City. If you're the Steelers, you just keep taking your lumps. Kenny Pickett went out there. He battled. You got something there. He looks like he's going to be solid. I think you got something there in George Pickens at receiver. You just keep taking your lumps. Mike Tomlin is going to incur and endure his first losing season as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. TJ Watt coming back will help, and they'll win a couple games that, you didn't see them winning, but it won't be enough to get them at 9-8. They're going to have a losing record for the first time in Mike Tomlin's career this year. Bills trounced the Steelers 38-3. They're 4-1, and they set up a massive matchup next week against the Chiefs. Chargers at the Browns. I've talked about this game just from the perspective of a late game decision made by Brandon Staley, the Chargers coach. I won't belabor that point because I've already hammered it home on various shows. I'll just tell you that Austin Eckler was a man possessed in this game. I've already told you he was a part of the slime gang this week. Nick Chubb, what's new? 17 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. He was fantastic. Jacoby Brissett was really good in this game, and then he made a boneheaded decision and this is what you get with backup quarterbacks. They tantalize you. They play well, and you're thinking, man, this guy's playing really good, man. Like, why can't this guy be a consistent starter? And then they show you why. And today's show is called Bad Teams Are Gonna Bad Team, right? And the Browns are gonna brown. And Jacoby Brissett throwing an interception at the goal line when you're in position for no worse than a field goal, which is going to give you the lead, right? It's textbook Cleveland Browns. If I'm not mistaken, the score was 30-28 at that time when he threw the interception. It might have been 27-28. And the Browns were already in the lead. Let me check and confirm that when he threw that interception. It was 30-28. You're in field goal range with a chance to take the lead, no matter what happens. And he throws just the most ridiculous pick. I don't even know what he was looking at. And so that's a soul crusher. But even after that, Brandon Staley thought it was a good idea from right around midfield, up to, mind you, to go for it on fourth and 2 from right around midfield with about a minute and 30 seconds left or something like that, minute and 10, whatever it was. It doesn't matter how much time was left because there was plenty of time for the Browns to get the football if you turn this thing over. And again, Browns going to brown. They get a completion to Amari Cooper, put them in field goal range, and their kicker misses the kick. Brandon Staley should have been crucified for this decision, but he didn't because the Browns, they made him right. The Browns are going to brown. The interception, the missed field goal. He missed 2 field goals in the game. Hadn't missed a kick all season long, their rookie kicker, Cade York. Hadn't missed a field goal all year. It was 7 of 7. He had missed some extra points. Hadn't missed a field goal all year. Missed 2 field goals in this game, including the game winner as they lose this game 30-28. Chargers are now 3-2, over 500. And don't look now. The Chargers are in second place in that AFC West. That was supposed to be this vaunted division. It's just them and the Chiefs right now. 4-1 for the Chiefs, 3-2 for the Chargers. Everybody else in the division stinks. Browns are now 2-3, and they easily could have been 5-0 this season. Shouldn't have lost to the Jets, and they should have won this game. The Steelers game is the one game I look at and say, or not the Steelers game, rather. There was one loss in there that I said, okay, they got their asses kicked pretty good, but they should be 4-1, but they're 2-3 because they're the Browns. Browns are going to brown. Bears and Vikings, NFC North family business. You know how the family do it. This was actually a really good game. It started out like it was going to be an ass thrashing. And this score, I think, at one point was 21-3. And you look like the Vikings are going to run away with this thing and have a field day at the expense of the Bears. But the Bears hung in, And you look up, it's 21-10 at halftime. You're like, okay, chipping away a little bit. Then they score 9 points in the second quarter. And you're like, wait a minute, they're field goaling these boys to death. And so you look up now, it's 21-19. And you're saying, hey, Minnesota, whoo, Vikings, wake up. Bears are at the door. They're knocking. What are you going to do? And then they get a field goal. They take the lead to the Bears, and they're up 22-21. And you're like, oh, my God, they're going to try to win this game. What is going on right now? And then Kirk Cousins said, all right, enough of this shit. Takes them on a drive down the field late in the game like he did against Detroit. Wins the football game, gets the touchdown. 2-point conversion is good. They go up 7. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they stripped Justin Fields on the final possession of the game. Let me check just to be sure. Yep, strip him on the final possession of the game. He fumbles. And excuse me. I told the story. Amir Smith-Marset is stripped of the football by Cameron Dantzler. I misspoke. I knew the Bears fumbled. I just had the wrong player, their receiver. And it's ironic. He's an ex-Vikings draft pick, is Amir Smith-Marset. If I'm not mistaken, like a 4th-round pick of the Vikings. Last year, didn't make their team. Bears snatch him up, and he ultimately fumbles against his former team. As the Bears fall 29-22, drop to 2-3 on the season. They're on Thursday Night Football against the Commanders. Meanwhile, the Vikings, look, it was an ugly performance against the Eagles in week 2, but since then, they found ways to win. It hasn't always been pretty. And all of their games, for the most part, have gone down to the wire. Lions, Saints, Bears. Oh, my. But look, they're 4-1. That's what it's about in this league. Find a way to get it done, and they have. And so, big win for the Minnesota Vikings. Solid game from Dalvin Cook. As I mentioned, Justin Jefferson was spectacular. 12 catches, 154 yards. Just 13 targets, 12 catches. I mean, Justin Jefferson was ridiculous in this game. They get the win. They're 4-1. And leading the NFC North now are the Minnesota Vikings. Patriots hosting the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions looked like the Detroit Lions in this game. Bad teams are going to bad team, right? The Lions are going to lion, all right? That's just what's going to happen, okay? The Commanders are going to commander, right? Carson Wentz throwing that pick right down by the goal line. Like, bad teams are going to be what they are. They're going to show you and reveal themselves at some point in the game. This is no different. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because, again, the Patriots dominated this game. But this was a close game initially. It was 6-0 for a very long time. And then the Lions decided to lion, right? So I just want to say this. The Lions, to me, are unnecessarily the most aggressive team on 4th down. Every game, it seems like the Lions go for it 6 times on 4th down. They went for it 6 times. I already told you they were 0 of 6 in this game. I know like a week or two ago, they were 0 of 6 in that game. Or like, no, they were like 4 of 6 against the Vikings on 4th down. It's like, why are you going for it that many times on 4th down? Like, it seems like this is a reoccurring theme. Every single game, they feel comfortable. And it's one thing if it's 4th and 1 or it's 4th and 2. They went for it on a 4th and 9 in this game. It's 6-0. They're in field goal range now. It's windy. You know how New England can get in the fall heading into the winter. It gets a little windy. All right. But it's 4th and 9. It's not 4th and 3 at the Patriots 36. It's 4th and 9 at the Patriots, like 36-yard line. And Jared Goff drops back to pass. He's rushed on the play. He's hit by Matthew Judon. The ball comes out. Kyle Duggar scoops it up, runs 59 yards. The Lions are going to lion on 4th and 9. Jared Goff fumbles. It's scooped up and run for a 59-yard touchdown. The game was never the same. They got their asses handed to them after that. 29-0. What do you want me to say? Bailey Zappi in his first career NFL start, 17 of 21, 188, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and gets the victory. The Lions were absolutely putrid in this game. Patriots get the win. They're now 2-3. Lions, after an impressive start to the season where they were scoring all these points and they were wowing people, and maybe these Lions are different. Same old Lions. 1-4 and shut out. Saints, Seahawks. one of the most entertaining games of the day. It seems like we say that every week about Seattle. Their game against Atlanta was entertaining. Their game last week against Detroit was entertaining. This game this week, it's always going to be entertaining with the Saints. Why? Because the Seahawks. Why? Because they don't play defense. And Geno Smith, Geno, oh, Geno, oh boy, Geno is out here balling. Geno Smith has it on tilt right now. Like, I don't even know who this dude is anymore. Like, Geno, stop playing. Like, I really want to go up to Geno Smith and pull his mask off and Drew Brees. Like, this can't be Geno Smith. This can't be Geno Smith. I really want to go to Geno Smith and pull the mask off and see who it really is under there. Like, Geno's making all these kind of plays. I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this masked man? Can't be Geno Smith under there. Geno's throwing dimes on the run. Geno's going bootleg across his body, throwing dimes for touchdowns. What is going on right now? Anyway, we talked about Rashad Penny last week. Remember I told you about Rashad Penny? I said I was going to offer up a 0-0, but he's got to stay healthy. That's been his bugaboo. Broke his leg. He's done for the season. I wish I could have said, I told you so, but I don't want to do that for a broken leg. But you know what I'm thinking, okay? That said, the rookie running back out of Michigan State stepped in. Kenneth Walker III ran a 69-yard touchdown, 8 carries, 88 yards. Remember I just talked about when you see a guy averaging 11 yards, it's usually like 6 for 66, 7 for 77, 8 carries, 88 yards, 11 yards per pop, right? You can see that because he had a 69-yard run. So that's not uncommon. It's rare when a guy has 16 carries for 173 yards and he's still averaging 11 per pop, because that's a lot of carries to be averaging, over double digits. Anyway, Rashad Penny left this game 8 carries, 54 yards. He was on another pace to be just tearing it up, and then he breaks his leg. So unfortunate for the kid. I feel for him. He's playing so well this year. But Tyler Lockett had his best game of the season this year. 5 catches, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a dime. An absolute dime from Geno Smith. Where you go, Geno, boy, stop playing with me right now, man. Stop. That was the one where I said, hey, come here, man. Let me pull this damn mask off your head and see who you are for real. This ain't Geno damn Smith. The throw to DK Metcalf was a hell of a throw. But that Tyler Lockett throw, Geno, baby. Hey, Geno, come here. Baza. But the Saints, just Taysom Hill would not be denied. How about Alvin Kamara back in the saddle this week? Last week missed the game over in London. Came back this week. And between Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, there was no answer. All right. Taysom Hill, as I mentioned already, 9 carries, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 60 and a 40-yard touchdown run, and then another one closer to the end zone. Alvin Kamara, though, 23 carries, 103 yards in this game, and then another 6 catches for 91 yards, almost 200 yards of total offense, just like Austin Eckler. He was so close to being on the list. I told you I had some guys that were knocking on the door. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. But he was close. He was knocking on the door. Hey, Louie T, let me in the slime gang. Sorry, man. It's too many dudes, too many teams, too many performances. But he was damn close. He was damn close. I should have coupled him with Taysom Hill. That's what I should have done. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have coupled him with Taysom Hill. But Andy Dalton just managed the game. He did have an interception, but he just managed the game. He didn't do anything stupid, and he just let the playmakers make plays. I'm worried about the Saints, though, because defensively, even though Seattle's playing at a very high level offensively, like it's not a shame to give up 30 to Seattle because of the way they're playing on offense right now. That said, this Saints defense wasn't giving up 30-0 to anybody last year or the year before that, for that matter. They're getting gouged this year. They're not the same defensive team. And so in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson being gone, like there's some pieces missing from that defense. No more Marcus Williams. He's gone. Like they're not the same on the back end like they were. They were a ball-hawking defense on the back end. They're no longer that team. You can take advantage of them. Teams are taking advantage of them on the back end. And I think it's going to hurt them because you're not playing Seattle's defense every week. You're not scoring 39 every week. So this is a good win for the Saints. They're 2-3 now. Same with Seattle. They're both 2-3 after this game. But Seattle's defense stinks, and they took advantage of it. But I don't know if they're going to be able to continue to do that moving forward. But good win for the Saints at home. Not a surprise because of what the Dolphins were going through, but it's still a surprise that they won by the amount that they won. I picked the Jets to win this week against the Miami Dolphins. However, I didn't expect them to win 40-17. That wasn't on my bingo sheet. Okay, that wasn't on my bingo card. I won't be screaming bingo. Jets 40, J40. I didn't have that. I didn't have N40. But I also didn't have Teddy Bridgewater being knocked out of the game on the first possession and Skylar Thompson having to come in and play quarterback. I didn't have that on my bingo sheet either. All right. Anyway, this was a dominant performance by the Jets. There was some doubt. I'm not going to lie to you. They started out this game 12-0, and it felt like they should have been up like 24-0, but they were up 12-0, and I'm like, you're letting these damn Dolphins hang around. Then it was 19-7, and I was like, okay, this Skylar Thompson guy stinks. He's not going to come in and hurt you. So as long as you don't let Tyreek Hill catch a slant or a screen and murk, or you don't let these running backs hurt you out of the backfield, you'll be fine. Problem was the Dolphins were actually running the rock in this game, and they were having success. Raheem Mostert, 18 carries, 113 yards. And so I was like, shit, they might run their way to a damn victory in this game. But all in all, it was all said and done. The defense was just too much for the Dolphins. It was just too much. And they forced turnovers. How many turnovers? I think they had to force at least 3 turnovers in this game. They forced 2 turnovers in this game. And it set up some easy peasy, lemon squeezy opportunities for points. And the Jets, at the end of the game, early in the game, they weren't necessarily taking advantage of every single opportunity. At the end of the game, they were turning these turnovers into touchdowns. They weren't playing with their ass. They poured it on, and they poured it on thick and heavy. They get the win 40-17. And now, don't look now, but the Jets are in second place in the AFC South, or excuse me, East. 1 game behind the, drum roll, please, Buffalo Bills. They're 1 game behind the Bills, who are 4-1. These Jets are. Unbelievable. Dolphins are 3-2. They're 1 game behind the Bills as well. But they're reeling because Tyreek Hill is hurt. Jalen Waddle is hurt. Those 2 may play this week. They may not play. But then there's no Tua and there's no Teddy. You're going to start. They have already announced they're starting Skylar Thompson this week. They're in trouble, are the Miami Dolphins. So big win for the Jets. They get it done 40-17. 2 in a row for Robert Saleh's crew. All right. Remember, he made the statement after week 2's loss or week 3's loss. I'm keeping receipts. Ever since that comment, they've won 2 in a row. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Buccaneers and Falcons, AFC South family business. You know how the family do it. All right. And if you don't know, now you know. We throwing flags on regular ass sacks to preserve the game for the Buccaneers. If you don't know, that's how they do it in the South, you know? This looked like it was going to be an easy Buccaneers win. There's not a lot to this game. They were cruising along. It's 21-0 in the 4th quarter. They're dominating this game. The Falcons have missed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Younghoe Koo is missing kicks. He usually doesn't do that. They're turning over the football. They're fumbling. Marcus Mariota isn't playing well. It looks like a typical Buccaneers over the Falcons. Brady is undefeated in his career, including the Super Bowl 28-3 against the Atlanta Falcons, and it looked like he was well on his way to another victory against the Atlanta Falcons. And then something happened in the 4th quarter. The Falcons came alive. They scored 15 unanswered points. Hell, they even went for 2 on some analytics shit. When it got to 21-13, they scored the touchdown to make it 21-13, and they went for 2. I said, look at this shit. Arthur Smith is trying to win. He's like, F this. We about to beat these bitches. So he goes for 2 and they get it. And I'm saying, oh shit, if they get a stop, they get it back one more time, they got all the momentum. They might actually beat these bastards. And then Grady Jarrett gets to Tom Brady, slams him down. It's not a violent slam. So it's a regular slam. But the officials overreact to the Tua Tagovailoa play, throw the flag, and that's all the Buccaneers needed and to salt this thing away. It's a shame because I would have loved to have seen what the Falcons would have done with that last possession. Would it have been enough? Would the defense been able to dig down deep, stop the momentum? The tide had swung totally in the favor of the Falcons. Would they have been able to dig down deep and get a stop, or were they going to crumble under the pressure offensively that the Falcons were putting on them and they lose the game? We'll never know. The officials took that opportunity out of the hands of the Atlanta Falcons. Buccaneers hold on. I told you something's off with the Bucs, something's off with the Packers, something's off with the Rams, and Falcons fall short. Disappointed. You got to be disappointed about that. 21-15. Buccaneers are now 3-2 on the season. Easily could have been 2-3 had that personal foul not been called. The snoozer fest of the day. Texans at Jags, classic Jacksonville Jaguars. I told you bad teams are going to be bad teams, right? Bad teams are going to bad team. The Jaguars are going to Jaguar. You know, I tried my hardest to convince myself this is a new day in Jacksonville. They're a different team, and they've got a new head coach, and he's going to go in there and take this talent, and he's going to get the most out of it. This is a good quality Jaguars defense. They're going to win some games. This is what you call a family business. And this is the family business you don't know shit about. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. And if they did, well, that's AFC South family business. And this is the kind that you keep your nose out of if you don't know nothing about it. See, I didn't know. This is what happens when you don't know about the family business. What happens in the family stays in the family. I didn't know the Texans had beaten the Jacksonville Jaguars 8 times in a row. I didn't know that. Had I known that, I would have been like, hey, maybe Houston can win this game. And then I would have picked Jacksonville. But instead, I just picked Jacksonville because I'm like, Houston sucks. Had I thought about it, I still would have picked Jacksonville. But at least I would have done it with a thought. Instead, Jacksonville goes in here. They lay an egg. All right. I told you already that the Jaguars are going to Jaguar. So here's the situation. It's 6-6. First possession of the second half. The Jaguars get the opening kickoff of the second half, and they march it. It's a beautiful drive. Trevor Lawrence is in the zone. He's stroking it. He be stroking. That's what he be doing. He be stroking. And they're moving it right down the field. They're running it. Nice little balance of running pass, and he's in his bag as Trevor Lawrence. So good to him. It's getting good to him, right? It's getting so good to him that he rolls out to his right on 1st and goal. From about the 3-yard line. It's getting so good to him that he rolls out and throws it right to Derek Stingley Jr. Don't ask me what he was looking at. Stingley's standing right there the entire time. And he throws it right to him, picks it up. First career interception for the Rook. And that was their best opportunity to score in the game. It was 6-6. It stayed 6-6 until later in the game with the Texans. And then, look, the Jags are going to jag. That wasn't enough. It's still 6-6. The Jags have the Texans 3rd and 20. The Texans commit a false start. Play is blown dead. Whistles are, it's Jacksonville, okay? You can hear a pin drop. It's Jacksonville. There's 17 people at the game. So there's no, it was too loud. I didn't hear the whistle. The rookie number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, takes Davis Mills and slings him down to the ground like a rag doll with nobody else on the field moving and whistles ringing about in the stadium. It's 3rd and 20. It's about to be 3rd. Actually, it was offsides on the Jaguars. Excuse me. It was offsides on the Jaguars. And it's going to be 3rd and 15. And he slings them down and they call personal. They should have. It was a terrible decision by Trayvon Walker. And it's the first down, and the Texans take that 15-yard penalty. They weren't going to convert 3rd and 15. Again, it's 6-6. They weren't going to convert this 3rd down. And instead, they take that first down. They move it all the way down the field. They get in the end zone, and they win this game 13-6. My God, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They jaguared. Bad teams are going to bad team, man. And now, instead of them being 3-2 and tied with Tennessee for the lead in the division, The Titans, who were just 0-2 just 3 weeks ago and looked like they were left for dead. We know this is a bad division anyway, are now atop the division at 3-2 as they head into their bye week. Shame on Jacksonville. Big win for the Texans. They're no longer the only winless team in the league. They're now 1-3-1. Panthers and 49ers. 49ers win the game 37-15. Again, this wasn't a fun game to watch. The Panthers are going to Panther. They suck. Matt Rule got fired after this game, as we all know. First head coaching change to be made in season. It may not be the last. We'll see. There's a lot of bad teams. I think Frank Wright if he would have lost on Thursday night like he should have, he would have been the next one in danger of getting fired. I think he's going to get fired at some point this year, Frank Wright. The Colts suck. Baker Mayfield stinks right now. I feel bad for him because, again, this was a tough situation. He got traded kind of later in the offseason. And, you get in there and it's just not a good situation. And Matt Rule and that group, they stunk. And, it just played itself out on the field in that manner. Look, this is a competitive game, though, okay? This is a competitive game early. It's 10-3. And for as bad as the Panthers are on offense, they've already missed a field goal, but they've blocked a field goal too, right? They're hanging in this thing. It's 10-3. Baker Mayfield pumps a pass and then throws it after he pumps it, doesn't set his feet, doesn't reset his feet, throws it flat-footed. It airmails over his receiver's head right to the waiting arms of Emmanuel Mosley, who then runs it back for a touchdown from 41 yards out. It makes it 17-3. And from that point on, the 49ers really never looked back in this game. The Panthers are going to Panther. They suck. Bad teams are going to bad team. That's what they do. They're going to self-destruct. Just stay out of the way while they do that thing that they do that's going to allow you to win the game, and you'll be fine. Don't interrupt them. You may mess around and help them inadvertently win the game. Back away. Let them self-destruct on their own, and you just pick up the pieces when they're done. And that's what the 49ers essentially did in this game. They didn't do anything special. They just backed up, let the Panthers do what they do, miss field goals, throw pick sixes, and they did the rest. This win did not come without strife for the 49ers, however, as Nick Bosa got injured. The aforementioned Emmanuel Mosley, if I'm not mistaken, hurt himself. And if I'm not mistaken, he's done for the season, I think. And then somebody else got hurt in this game too. So this did not come without a little bit of injury for the 49ers, but they win big, 37-15. They're 3-2 on the season. Don't look now, but the San Francisco 49ers are sitting atop the NFC West. Just thought you might want to know that at 3-2. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers are one of the worst teams in football at 1-4. Cowboys at the Rams. This was a fun one to watch. Anytime good defensive teams are fun to watch for me. I can't speak for any of you out there, but I like watching good defensive teams. And the Cowboys are a good defensive team. And so the Rams in this game came out and they got blitzed at the beginning of this game. So I was shocked to see how the game started because I wasn't expecting that. And the very first possession, Stafford fumbles. And it wasn't even a hit you should fumble off of. It was just Matthew Stafford being soft. Ball comes out, scooped up by the Cowboys, run for a touchdown. They fudged the extra point. Guy, this long snapper, he's a new guy, snaps it before they're ready for the ball. So it's 6-0. Next possession, Rams, 3-and-out. Cowboys defense swarms. They got a punt. Dorrance Armstrong comes right up the middle, blocks the kick. Field goal. Should have been a touchdown. Field goal, okay. It's 9-0. And you're like, whoa, what in the hell is going on right now? Like the floodgates have been opened. But they stem the tide. They get a field goal. They settle things down. And then Cooper Kupp, and the field goal comes off of Trayvon Diggs getting cooked by second-year wide receiver Tutu Atwell, who runs right by him. Okay? 40-something yard catch. Beautiful ball from Stafford. It's what Stafford does. Stafford giveth, Stafford taketh away. So they settle for a field goal there. Probably should have got a touchdown on that possession, but it is what it is. Next possession. First of all, Cooper Rush is as ordinary as John Legend. He's just ordinary people. Cooper Rush is a basic ass backup. All this conversation about should he start over Dak? Are you kidding me? He was awful in this game with Cooper Rush. And really, Cooper's been, like I said, a basic backup. And he's a backup, and he's a solid backup quarterback in terms of, hey, he'll come in, he'll run the offense, he won't hurt us. And with this defense, there are a lot of backup quarterbacks that could be 4-1 with this defense that Dallas is playing. They're not 4-1 because of Cooper Rush. Okay? I'll just say that. Anyway, I digress. So the Cowboys, they go 3-and-out because the offense was absolutely terrible in this game, and Cooper Rush was getting his ass whooped because their left tackle, Smith, stinks. I said this already. Now, they keep trying to tell me he's playing well. No, he's not. He's getting away with holding. Montez Sweat got held by him at least 4 times in that game. Didn't call any of them. Well, Aaron Donald said, you're not going to hold me. I'm just going to go sack your quarterback and make him fumble all over the damn place. Then Jalen Ramsey should have stripped, Cooper Rush. He wants to go. These guys drive me nuts. They want to go for the big shot, the kill shot. I want the football. Cooper Rush had no idea he was coming. Should have stripped him. He didn't. Anyway, Cooper Kupp catches a one-hander on Trayvon Diggs, cooks him for 75 yards and a touchdown. Okay. So they're ahead now 10-9. And that's when the Cowboys defensively turned the switch on. Like, okay, you're done. That's enough. You're done. And from that point on, they turned the lights out on the Rams. The Rams did miss a field goal. They had a field goal attempt when it got to 22. I think it was 19-10 at the time. And they had a chance to kick a field goal, make it 19-13, which would have put them within striking distance. And their kicker, who hadn't missed a kick all year long, and Matt Gay, misses the kick. And that was pretty much all she wrote. Where this game turned, though, was the Tony Pollard 57-yard run, because before that, when it was 10-9, the Rams had all the momentum. After starting out 9-0, and they ran off 10 unanswered, they had all the momentum, and then they let Tony Pollard, who I told you 2 years ago was the more dynamic and explosive back, the one that you should worry about the most. Zeke Elliott is now turned into a bona fide power back. Tony Pollard is the one that should scare you. He rips off a 57-yard touchdown run. And it was like that took all of the air that in the building was Ram air, because most of the building air was Cowboy air. They were going silent count at home. It was pathetic. But we know the Cowboys won. They traveled to Oxnard is like home for the Cowboys, second home for them. So it's a hop, skip, and a jump to go to LA, watch the game. And 3, the Rams never have a home field advantage. They didn't even have a home field advantage against the Bills on banner night. They won a Super Bowl, and they didn't have a home field advantage. That tells you all you need to know. Anyway, I digress. That run gave the Cowboys the lead, and it was from that point on that the defense said, all right, we got it from here. Thanks. And it's like the Rams just shell-shocked. They went into this, like, hole, and they couldn't get out of it. But you got to credit the Cowboys defense for that. They were flying around, man. My God. Tristan Hill and Dorrance Armstrong and Odighi Zua and Micah Parsons, who had a sack strip after getting injured in this game, and Dante Fowler Jr. They just come at you. Sam Williams, they just come at you in waves. They come at you in waves. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't love the back end in Dallas. You can beat them back there. It's can you protect long enough from all of those guys? I think you can run on Dallas too. Let me check the numbers. I thought that Akers, never mind. He didn't have a great game. I feel like you can run on Dallas. I may be wrong about that, but Cooper Rush was basic. 10 of 16, 102 yards. He wasn't good in this game, but the defense was. I've already chronicled that. They win the game 22-10 after damn near being shut out in week 1, 19-3 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and losing. It's just crazy how fast things change in this league, right? A month ago this time. All right. So a month ago, Wednesday, or Wednesday, this is a Wednesday, a month ago, this same time on a Wednesday, I sat here and I remember picking up the phone and calling my dad. I called boss up. I said, hey, boss, y'all season over, huh? He's like, yeah, man. Our shit done, man. This shit is ridiculous. Damn, Dak ass can't stay healthy. A month later, to hell with Dak, we'll win it on defense. They've won 4 straight. I thought their season was done. Everybody else thought their season was done. And now 4 weeks later, they're 4-1, best defense in football, and they're dominating teams. And you're like, hey, they're only going to get better when Dak comes back. Sheesh. Big win for the Cowboys on the road. The Rams are in trouble. Like trouble to the point where they may not make the playoffs trouble. And their schedule, it's been brutal, right? They've played some really good teams. It's going to lighten up here. I don't trust them. I just don't. Like Seattle can beat them. The way they're playing right now, they're going to score some points on Seattle, but Seattle might be able to outscore them right now. That's real talk. Eagles and Cardinals. This was a fun game to watch too. I'm just an NFC East guy though. So any NFC East game is going to be fun for me to watch. Except for the Giants at times. That Bears game, the Carolina game, those were tough watches. But anything with the Eagles or the Cowboys, that's going to be fun for me to watch. This was fun. Eagles jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Looked like they were going to dominate this game. And then the Cardinals finally settled in, scored 10 before half, made this thing 14-10. And I'm like, okay, they're settling in here. I thought that there were some opportunities in this game. They almost picked off Jalen Hurts. He wasn't able to fully, bring it in. That was a missed opportunity. Kyler Murray on the final drive of the game. Look, the Cardinals are going to Cardinal, man. Okay, like bad teams are going to find a way to be bad. So I thought Kyler Murray came alive in the fourth quarter. Like when his team needed him most, he came alive. I thought he started to use his legs, but he's got a wide ass open receiver, tight end actually, Zach Ertz. And this is a 35-yard gain and out of bounds. And you're in the Eagles territory and you're in business. And they only had one timeout left, so you don't want to waste it. And he missed him. He missed him badly. You can't get any more wide open than he was on this play. You're like, golly, you can't miss that one, dude. But then they scramble, right? He either scrambles or he throws a pass. I can't remember which one is which. At the end of the game to get him in the field goal range. And it's 3rd and 1. They don't get the first down. And they've got plenty of time. They don't have to spike this, right? There's at least let's see when the spike happened. I don't want to make stuff up. I'm gonna say there was like 23 seconds left. That might be too much. Let's see. They spiked the ball with 22 seconds. Damn, I'm good. They spiked the ball with 22 seconds left. It's 3rd and 1. If you spike it now, it's 4th down. Instead of spiking it, just have Kyler Murray run up, quarterback sneak it, then you can spike it. Like, I know it's going to take a while to unpile them and everything, but you're going to get one more play, maybe to the sidelines to throw a 5-yard pass. If you don't complete it, you throw it over the guy's head, then you kick the field goal, right? That's my thought process with 22 seconds. Is you just hurry up, you get the first down, or you could have had a fake spike, throw a pass, get out of bounds type of deal, right? But they spike it. Now it's 4th down. Now they got to kick a field goal, and it's from 43 yards. It's still a makeable kick. And Matt Amendola, the guy that the Chiefs cut because he missed 2 extra points and a field goal against the Colts when they lost that game. They cut his ass. The Cardinals scoop him up, and he misses a game-winning kick. And the Eagles hold on and win 20-17. It wasn't an impressive performance, but these are the kind of wins you got to have. You're not going to be impressive every week like the Eagles have been for the most part this season. You got to find a way to win these kind of games. And Arizona has been a house of horrors for Philadelphia. So just going in there and winning psychologically has to feel good for the Eagles because they haven't done it in such a long time. And so that right there in itself, like this is when it's your season. When you know it's your season, when the ball bounces your way, you get breaks like this, and you find ways to beat teams you generally don't beat, go into places and win when you usually don't win. And that's what the Eagles did here. That's impressive. This wasn't Jalen Hurts' best performance. He wasn't terrible in this game, almost threw a pick. I thought there were other opportunities for the Cardinals to make some plays on him. But He ran it. I thought he used his legs effectively in this game, did Jalen Hurts. The Cardinals act like they hadn't seen a mobile quarterback before. He used his legs, but they get the win. That's the most important part. They remain the lone undefeated team in the league, due to the Philadelphia Eagles at 5-0 with the 20-17 victory. The Cardinals are now 2-3 on the season. And so that takes us to garbage time. Let's wrap up this show with a Thursday night football preview. Commanders at Bears. Everyone was laughing at the prospects of that game because of what we just came off of in one of the worst primetime games in recent memory of Colts and Broncos. And now they look ahead and they see Commanders and Bears coming down the pipeline. And they're saying, oh my God, we're in for it again. Look, I don't think the game's going to be that bad. It has a chance to be. Okay. It has a chance to be because these are two anemic offenses. However, there's more talent on the field, and neither one of these teams defensively are what the Colts and Broncos are defensively either. So it's not going to be this dominant performance, but both of these offenses have the ability to be so awful that they can make the other team's defense look really good. And so this could be, I fully expect this to be 17-13, 19-16, 20-16, 20-17. If both of these teams get into the 20s, it'll be a miracle. Okay. I expect someone to win this game moving towards 20 or actually getting to 20. I don't see like 24-20 in this game. Anything could happen, but I don't see it. I think both of these teams offensively just don't have enough in terms of, in Washington's case, they've got enough talent. They don't have enough execution from either the play caller or the players on the field. And the Bears just don't have enough talent. And so it's gonna be interesting because on paper, Washington is better than Chicago. On paper, they're better than the Bears. But Washington can't get out of their own way. All of a sudden now they're a big penalty team. They've got issues on the offensive line, obviously. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz. And sometimes we forget, because of all these weapons and things, we think he's just going to be really good. And he was really good against the Titans. But then when we needed him, he was really bad and he missed some things and he left some things out on the field. I think that the offensive line in this game is going to be under siege because the Bears can get after the quarterback, unlike the Titans. So I think this is going to look more like the Philadelphia game and the Dallas game and in the first half against Detroit. They're going to have to do some things to get it out of his hands quickly because this Bears front is going to challenge Washington's offensive line that has struggled this season. So this is going to be an interesting game. Justin Fields is coming off of his best performance of his career. And so if he continues to build from a momentum standpoint and parlays that into a performance that is worthy of them winning at home, they're going to have their all orange on with the orange helmets, the first time they've ever worn anything other than their blue helmets, the dark midway blue helmets. And so they're going to be sport like the Cardinals wore their all black helmets. I didn't like it. I love Kyler Murray's cleats. He had on some Deion Sanders cleats. For those of you old enough to know, those are dope. And they were black and yellow. Oh my God, they were so crispy. But I didn't love the black on black. They looked like the Louisville Cardinals and not the Arizona Cardinals. But that's nor here nor there. The Bears are going to unveil their orange helmets. It's probably going to look clean, right? And so there's going to be a lot of energy in the building. It's a primetime game. The Bears aren't going to be getting a lot of these. It's going to be juiced and amped up there. And Fields is going to, I think, have a chance to run a little bit. We've actually done a good job. The Commanders have done a good job against mobile quarterbacks this year, which is surprising. But if they can limit the amount of running that the Bears do, Bears are better at running the ball than they are throwing, obviously. They're going to have a chance in this game. If you put the game on the shoulders of Justin Fields, you're going to have a shot. I worry about Darnell Mooney because teams have had success against us with big-time receivers, whether it be Amon-Ra St. Brown or Christian Kirk or Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. Teams have had some extraordinary days. CeeDee Lamb have had really good success against us, and Darnell Mooney is good enough to find himself in that category. I think it's actually going to be a really good game, a well-played game. It'll get sloppy at times, but all in all, you're not going to have the same feeling you had watching Broncos and Colts. That said, it won't be offensive fireworks in this game. It's going to be close. I'll save my prediction for tomorrow. Obviously, I'm a Washington fan. I have a show, and so you'll get my prediction there. But it's going to be a good game. I'll just leave it at that. So With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I do have a couple of super chats, so we will take those supers before I exit stage left and see what you guys have to say before I go. All right, so I got a super here from Kyle. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Kyle writes, rule out who's the next head coach to get the axe? Campbell, Ron? I think it's actually going to be Frank Reich in Indianapolis. It takes an impatient owner to fire a guy during the season, right? Like most rational owners, unless the thing is going off the rails like it was with Herb last year in Jacksonville, you just wait until the season's over. There's only one benefit to firing a coach early, and that's you get to start the process of hiring your next head coach. But what does firing your head coach 5 games into the season do? If you fire him in week 13, I get that. You want to start the process early. It's week 5. What are you really gaining by firing your coach in week 5? You've got to be a really, really impatient owner to get rid of a guy this early in the season. That's what David Tepper is, and that's what the Colts owner Jim Irsay is. So I think the next owner to get axed, or excuse me, not owner, head coach to get axed is going to be Frank Reich. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny, right? Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Says, holy crap, Lou, it's raining out here in SoCal. What the hell? A wise man once told me it never rains in Southern California, so I don't believe you. You need more people. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, that rain smells good though. Cleansing. It never rains in Southern California, and they tell me. Anyway, Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat one more time. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Braves trash. Let's go Yankees. I got 200 on the fields. You might win that money. You might double up. Double up. You might double up. Again, MLB did a disservice to my Braves, but we're going to see if we got championship medal or not. So we'll see what happens. I'm not happy about how they did us, though. Anyway, I digress. I know they were in a rain delay. We'll see if they even play the game today or not. But that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 295th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I appreciate y'all chopping it up with the kid. I look forward to kicking it with y'all on Friday when I give you my picks. And I got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Russell Wilson. I've been waiting for that one, among other topics. So hopefully I have enough time to do everything that I want to do. But in the meantime, enjoy Thursday Night Football. I'll see you for the post-game show after that game has met its conclusion for overtime. And I look forward to chopping it up with you, Washington fans, tonight for Commanders Nightly News Live. Until then, you guys take care. God bless and good night.